Hey, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. And in this video, we're going to do a very quick and a very simple, easy guide on every single ghost in Phasmophobia, all 24 of them. I'm going to tell you one key thing to spot the ghost immediately, uh, another bonus way you can spot the ghost, and a way you can immediately rule out the ghost. Because a few ghosts are really simple to rule out, and a few ghosts are difficult, and there's a few niche things you need to know to rule out certain ghosts. If you want a more detailed, in-depth guide, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll happily make it. Without further ado, let's get on. So we start with Spirit. Now, Spirit, it says they're very common ghosts. That is a lie. Every ghost has the same chance of, when you start a game, there's a 1 in 24 chance that it is any ghost. It is random every time. So, the main thing with a spirit is they're territorial, and obviously this is quite, you can't really find out it's a spirit just by walking into the ghost room and finding out it's a bit more defensive and territorial. The only way to really definitely guarantee a spirit is by incense, and that's the part of the weakness here. Now, with an incense, normally, if you light an incense near the ghost, it will stop the ghost from being able to hunt for 120 seconds. Sorry, 90 seconds. With the spirit, however, it's doubled, and it can't hunt for 180 seconds. So, if you incense the ghost, cleanse the ghost, and it hunts between 90 and 180 seconds, it cannot be a spirit. If it hunts before 90 seconds, it's a demon, because that is demon special thing, but we'll get onto that later. A wraith is super simple. If it walks in salt, it's not a wraith. It cannot be a wraith. Wraith is the only ghost which cannot walk in salt. And if a ghost hasn't walked in salt the entire investigation, you have good suspicion for it to be a wraith. And you can test it more specifically by placing down salt in a doorway and putting a motion sensor there, or if dots is visible, because dots is one of wraith's evidences, you can then see the ghost move over the salt in dots, and if it doesn't disturb the salt, it's a wraith. Now, Phantom, there's a couple of ways. A Phantom will blink very heavily during a hunt. It will blink in massive intermittent blinks of a few seconds, 1 to 2 seconds. A few is a bit exaggerative. But the main and easier way to tell the Phantom is by taking a picture of the ghost, either during dots, because once again, Phantom is dots, or during a ghost event. You take a picture of the Phantom. If it's visible in the photo, it's not a Phantom. And if the ghost disappears in the photo, then it's a Phantom. A poltergeist is a little tricky, but it also can be the most obvious ghost in the world. If it throws something very far, it is most likely a polter. And normally, if it throws something very far, you should have a look at the activity monitor. If there is a big spike, like 5, 6 or more, potentially even 10, it is a poltergeist. And it is a poltergeist. Normally, during a hunt, a poltergeist will launch everything, and there are times where it will do a poltergeist bomb and use its ability where almost all objects in the surrounding area will just blow up and get shot everywhere. A banshee, there's a definitive way to get a banshee, which is using a parabolic microphone. There is a 1/3 chance that when the ghost whispers at you, it will scream at you if it's a banshee. And there you go, it's then a banshee. Other than that, the Banshee picks a target out of, the players on your team, and it will only go for that target during a hunt, unless the target isn't in the building. So that's another thing with a Banshee. The other thing's a bit niche, of that it will walk towards the target more. So for example, during a dots phase, the Banshee has a 2/3 chance to walk towards its selected target over the other teammates. And the last thing is the Banshee takes 15% instead of 10% of sanity during a ghost hunt on the target. So if somebody has like 5% less, it's very niche, then it's most likely a banshee. A Jinn, the easiest way to spot a Jinn is if the breaker is never turned off, and during a hunt with the breaker on, it speeds up to you from afar, but when it gets close to you, it's normal speed again. A mare is very difficult to tell. Unless you know your behavior well, you will struggle with a mare. The most consistent way is ruling it out with evidence and doing a light switch test, where near the ghost room, you flick off a light and on a light. You can do it twice. When you flick on the light, the mare has a slight chance, if nearby you, for it to turn off the light almost immediately. So if you flick on a light and the mare flicks it off, it's a mare. I'll have an example of that right now. Did it just turn up? A revenant is very slow when it doesn't see you during a hunt, but when it sees you during a hunt, it is very fast. So if you're hiding from the ghost and it's very slow, it is most likely a revenant. A shade will never ever do an interaction if it's nearby you or in the same room as you. So if you're in the room with the ghost and it's doing nothing, you should leave, and if it does something, it's a shade. A demon, like I said before, only has a 60-second cooldown period after you use the incense for it to hunt again. So, if it hunts between 60 and 90 seconds after cleansing it, like we were talking about with the spirit earlier, it is a demon. A demon also doesn't have a line of sight speed increase. Line of sight speed increase is when a ghost sees you for a good few seconds, it will eventually accelerate and gain speed. This is to stop you like infinitely looping a ghost. Ghosts just speed up. A demon doesn't have this. A demon is constantly forever the same speed. Now a Yuri is very difficult to tell. The only way to actually tell a Yuri is if your sanity is mysteriously low after a ghost has touched a door, because that's one of its abilities, or it touches a door and then shuts a door. Those are the only ways to tell a Yuri. An Oni is very easy a ghost to rule off if it does an airball ghost event. So if you walk into the ghost room and you literally see a flying ball of mist hurl towards your brain, it is not an Oni. An Oni cannot do that. An Oni also ghost events a lot, mainly during the start of an investigation. So that's another way to tell a Yuri, Oni even. And the last way to tell an Oni, it is very physical. It will normally do ghost events which show its full body, not like a shadow, etc., etc. And during a hunt, it does the opposite of a phantom, and it blinks less. The blinks are shorter. Yokai is also a difficult one like Yuri. Both the Ys kinda suck to figure out, but a yokai cannot detect electronics or your voice unless it's close to it. So when it's hunting, you should use the radio, press B for a split second, and if the yokai doesn't come towards you, then it's a yokai. A Hantu base its speed on how cold it is. So the best way to tell a Hantu is if when you're hiding during a hunt, the speed will be really inconsistent, because that means it will be going from a cold room to a warm room to a cold room to a warm room, and the speed will go up, down, up, down, up, down, then you know it's a Hantu. Hantus also apparently turn the breaker off more regularly than other ghosts. So if it does that more often, it's a Hantu. Agorio is a funky ghost. Agorio loves his ghost room, so he'll always leave the ghost room and then always come back to it. Doesn't roam a whole lot. The only definitive way to tell Agorio is if you see it with dots in a camera, but you don't see it with dots in person. So if you see dots in person, it is not Agorio. A Myling is another ghost which is relatively difficult to spot. Normally, it's if it flickers your flashlight during a hunt and you don't hear the footsteps, it's a Myling. Or if the ghost is just abnormally quiet during a hunt, it's a Myling, but it's hard to tell. Even I still get those wrong. Now, an Onryo. An Onryo has the definitive Onryo test. An Onryo will blow out 3 candles and then it will hunt. It is not guaranteed, but the odds are very, very high. The margin for error is almost non-existent. So, if you, let's say you get ghost orbs, and you're like, ooh, could be an Onryo, you should place a candle and a crucifix right next to the candle. Count how many times it blows out the candle. If it blows out the candle 3 times and then tries to hunt, aka burns the crucifix, it's an Onryo. It says an Onryo's thing, extinguishing a flame can cause it to attack. Now the twins. The twins are difficult, but there's a few things with the twins. I'll briefly go over it. They'll either do a twin interaction, where both of the twins will interact at the same time. Obviously, no other ghost can do that. You could tell that by the activity monitor, because the activity monitor will have a slight curve instead of like a direct line up. But other things can cause that. Every ghost can technically do that curve, because a ghost can interact and do a hunt. The ghost can interact and ghost event at the exact same time and cause curves to happen. The other way to tell a twin is via a slow twin and a fast twin. Those are the 2 twins. The fast twin is barely faster than a normal ghost. The slow twin is barely slower than a normal ghost. But if you play the game long enough, you'll realise that as twins, you realise the speed changes and you'll be able to spot them. Normally, if you get the ghost to hunt more than once, you'll hear the fast twin and the slow twin, and then you can easily see the difference. So if the hunts are normally different speeds, it's the twins. A Raiju. Raiju has a high sanity hunt threshold. It will hunt at 65% sanity, which is quite high. But a Raiju will also instantly speed up when near electronics. So if you're hunting, it's not near electronics in its normal speed, and then it walks by a dots, and it immediately goes meow, immediately meow. It's a Raiju. Relatively easy. In Obake, you will either see a 6 fingerprint instead of 5, a 6 fingerprint instead of 5 on doors in UV, and it only has a 75% chance to leave evidence nearby when it interacts UV wise. Every other ghost is 100%. So if it touches a door and there's no UV, it touches another door and there's UV, it's an Obake. And it can shapeshift during a hunt. It can change ghost model. It does it on the 12th blink, the 27th blink. I don't remember the specifics, and it has a 6% chance to do it every blink. It will change ghost model. So that's a super easy, guaranteed way to find the Obake. Mimic is horrible. Mimic mimics every ghost. It changes which ghost it's mimicking every 30 seconds to 2 minutes. It can mimic hidden abilities, so it can mimic Obake. It can mimic Hantu. It can mimic Banshee Scream. The only thing it can't mimic is Goru's ability, because obviously a dot is a mimic. The only way to tell a mimic is if its behavior changes abnormally, or if it's got ghost orbs. So let's say you're playing on 2 evidence, and oh, we've got 3. It's a mimic. Because a mimic's hidden ability is it shows ghost orbs. A Moroi is faster the lower your sanity. So if you're 0% sanity, it's going to be super fast. It also places curses on you through the spirit box and the parabolic. And when it places a curse on you, your sanity will drain double the speed, regardless of if you're in the light or not. If you're in the light, it will negate the light effect and it will start draining your sanity. So if your sanity is draining rapidly while in the light after a spirit box, it's a Moroi. It will also get faster the more the investigation progresses. A Dio. Dio is one of my favourite ghosts. A Dio will run at you. A Dio knows exactly where you are. Sounds scary? It's not. The Dio will run directly towards you and then slow down. It will get slower the closer it gets to you. Eventually, becoming so slow you can literally just walk around the ghost. You can hug the ghost and not die. So it sounds scary at first, but a Dio knows where you are all the time. And yeah, like I said, it's one of my favourite ghosts because it's so easy to loop and hunt, etc, etc. It can also breathe through the spirit box. Finally, we have Thay. A Thay is super active at the very start of a hunt. Investigation. It will throw pots and pans, books, interact with everything at the very start of a hunt. And then it will slowly age the further the game goes on. It only ages if you're in the ghost room with it. But normally you can rule it out by it not being a Thay if it doesn't interact at the start, and if it's not fast during a hunt. A Thay has a high sanity threshold where it can hunt, so if it's not fast during the initial bit of the hunt, then it's not a Thay. That's pretty much it. Those are all of the ghosts explained in the simplest of terms. It's just a quick guide to get out there so people can look at this and they can see a few hints on the ghosts, the easy summary of the ghosts, and hopefully get a good idea and start getting more ghosts right. But if you did enjoy and you want a more detailed description of every ghost, then please comment down below if you do so. And if you enjoyed, please like, subscribe. It helps out me as a small creator so much. But thank you very much for watching to the end. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.